Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 194. And I know every week I talk about different subjects and topics, and some of the shit is interesting, some of the shit not so much, right? But today what I'm gonna talk about is knowing when it's time to exit stage left. Friendships, relationships, jobs, whatever, right? And it's other things we're gonna talk about too, but that's gonna be the main point. I think it's important to realize that. Um, Knowing when to exit stage left, knowing when to, you know what, I'm kind of tired of this, you know, because if the job, the person, individuals, doesn't matter, right? Um, there's no point in sticking around in a situation where you feel that you're not being valued. Um, Recently, I knew a lady who did a bodybuilding show, and she kept coming up with all the different reasons as to why she was placing so poorly in the shows. And I was like, it's not that. It's that you expect to be compensated, you know, getting high places in the shows when you haven't done the work. So yeah, if you're tired of competitive bodybuilding for that reason, then leave, because like there's no point for you to keep doing shows, keep spending this money, and it's like, what are you doing that for? You look the same every show. Call a spade and a circle. That's what I say. Because it's true. It's the same thing with friendships, man, or relationships. It's like those are more tricky, because me myself, I don't really give too many chances, man. It's like I'm cordial with people. You know, even if we stop hanging out, stop talking, I'm still gonna be cordial with you unless you do some really fuck shit. You know, it's like, you lie on me, or you do X, Y, and Z, this and this and that, and it's like, and I found out, or you lied to me, and then I find out after the fact that what I was told wasn't 100% the truth. Now, there's a difference between people bullshitting with you and people lying to you, because everybody bullshits. Everybody bullshits. I don't care what they say, everybody bullshits. But when you deliberately lie to somebody's face, that's the type of shit you're like, yo. I'm like, why'd you do that? Because now you make me question everything else that comes out your mouth. Because I'm thinking it's legit when it's not, right? And so, like, in situations like that, it's like, yeah, it's like if you're constantly dealing with somebody who's a liar, somebody who tries to manipulate you, by all means leave, right? Another thing too, when somebody tells you, oh, I don't know what I want, they fitting to waste your time. Speaking from experience. And we've all had those conversations where the girl would be like, oh, or the girl or the guy be like, oh, well, I don't know what I want. Okay. Cool. It's like, well, I hope whenever you figure that shit out, you come holler at me. Because, yeah, niggas is depleted. And I think at the end of the day, man, it's really disheartening when people just, don't want to get it. It's like this one cat that I know. He's doing a bodybuilding show, and he recently broke up with his girlfriend. So he was telling me all this shit. I'm like, oh, bro, like, was she ever in the gym to begin with? And he was like, no, bro. It was like, he's like, that was the thing, man. It's like she was used to me working out for an hour or whatever it is, then coming back. But now I'm in the gym 2-3 hours a day. I'm, getting up at 4 to do fast cardio. All the typical competitive bodybuilding shit that us bodybuilders do, right? For the most part. And he's like, man, the diet's kicking my ass, and it's like, like my coach is cutting calories. He's doing he's basically manipulating the body to, get the results that he wants. And don't get me wrong, the results is it shows up. God is good. And I said, man, well, number one, I'm glad you broke up with her because it was just gonna get worse. It wasn't gonna get better. And if she's never been in the gym, bro, then she has no idea why you doing this. Very few people have the luxury of having somebody on their team who, who knows what it's like. I've been fortunate for the most part. When my brother was alive, that dude was my rock. My mom's, I love her to death because, she helped me chase my dream, to get in the national stage. And even though I got my ass kicked, it was just the fact that a kid with cerebral palsy, not only did he get nationally qualified, but he did a national show. And everything that I've been through, it just, I'm like, yo, I did all that. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about all the shit that we do, when everybody counts us out. And I've been counted out my entire life. And so it's like, for me to be successful at bodybuilding, that tells me, like, yo, you can do anything. If you can stick to a bodybuilding diet, for X amount of months, and be successful at that, and continuously beat the package that you have, set at different shows, and I think you'd be okay. But getting back to what I was saying, man, it's like, you have to know when to leave certain situations, because if you stay in there longer than need be, it's like, yo, you end up just becoming bitter. You end up becoming jaded. You end up becoming a different a shell of yourself, right? I, for one, is like I said before, I'm not quick to cut people off, but let's just say I collect data, right? And I start looking at behavior patterns. I start looking at, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, yo, like, this don't add up. That don't add up. Boom, 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 right? All this shit don't add up. So why the fuck am I still here? Makes sense. Because why would you do all this quote unquote analysis and collecting of behavior patterns and still want to be in the situation, right? Now, I'm not saying that these people are bad people, because a lot of people, they ain't bad people. They're just bad for you, They're bad for your mental health. They're bad for your, for you trying to do your thing. And it's like, in the grand scheme of things, is like, when you're dealing with people like that, who constantly tell you, well, I don't know what I want, or I don't, X, Y, and Z, boom, boom, boom. Like, yo, just do them a solid and leave them alone. Because what they're telling you is that, even though I know you want me, I don't want you as, or I want you, but I'm scared for a plethora of different reasons, right? Or like, you get into a relationship with somebody and you haven't healed, and that's the fucking worst thing you can do, is to get involved with somebody and not be mentally okay where you at, and then you bring in your trauma, your drama into a situation where it's not warranted, right? Um, and I think it stems from a lot of people not knowing how to be alone, not wanting to be alone. Because, bro, when you're alone, bro, sitting with your thoughts 24/7, you know, not having, you know, somebody else to quote unquote distract you from your bullshit, you can get a lot done. Um, a lot of it has to do with people just not knowing how to appropriately understand themselves. You know, and I see it all the time, man. People having kids with multiple kids with people that they shouldn't even have gone out with to begin with. People getting married because they think the marriage is gonna fix their already glaring situations, and then they get divorced. Sometimes 6 months later, sometimes several years later. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like everybody can see that the two of you weren't a fit. So by you compounding marriage or any type of situation, thinking that the results gonna get better when when the preview to the movie has already been shown to you, what do you expect? You know, like I said before, you don't want to become a shell of yourself. You don't want to become a different version of yourself. You don't want to become that guy or that girl, but like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Even though I had a really good friend of mine, and they was in a situation. He lives in California. Anyway, the girl he was dating at the time, she wanted to go somewhere which is like a 4 or 5 hour drive, right? And where they live at, they could have did the same thing that she wanted to do, you know, closer to the house. And mind you, California is huge, right? He can drive 8 hours and still be in the same state. That's how big it is. And not only that too, is like the place that they would have had to gone, they would have had to spend money for lodging, they would have had to spend money for food, gas, all that stuff, right? And my partner's telling me all this. And I'm like, yeah, alright. And the first thing I told him, I was like, dog, my boy, you don't have an asset on your hands, you have a liability. And he was like, what? He's like, I'm like, dog, you have a liability on your hands. She doesn't, you know, this individual doesn't care because she's spending your bread. She doesn't care because she's getting exactly what she wants out of the situation. You got to look at it from that point of view. Damn how good she is to other people. Damn how good, you know, X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, my boy, if she doesn't add value to your life, if she stretches you out, then what's the point? What's the point of you sticking yourself in a situation simply just because? You end up becoming a different version of yourself, a version that you just go along to get along, and it's like you become short, you become standoffish, you become defensive, you know. So in some cases you become fucking mean. Me myself, I don't do well with conflict. What I mean is, like, I will talk about the issue when I'm ready. Like, you're not gonna get me to talk about it right then and there. Because number one, I can't collect my thoughts coherently in a situation like that. And if you force me to have the conversation, it's not gonna happen. I'll literally sit down on the phone with you like this. I won't say anything. You know, or I'll catch you in phrases. But like, oh, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. Oh, really? Wow. Cool. Because for me, I get why certain women do this, right? You know, because, you know, they love us, you know, the X, Y, and Z. They're scared, they want reassurance, and they want all this shit, right? Like, yo, it's like, you know your mans? Just give us some room, give us some breathing room, because I guarantee you, every man who's gonna watch this podcast, you know, or watch a similar podcast as to mine, they're gonna be like, yeah, like, it's like, just give us some breathing room. Instead of you just coming at us, you know, give us some breathing room, because it's like, that's what we need. You know, I can't go out and battle the world and come home and battle my girl. I don't have the energy for that. I don't. I'm gonna say this again. I can't go out into the world and battle the world every day for 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day. I'm go home and battle my girl too. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is, like, I want to throw a hoodie on, a do-rag on, a pair of basketball shorts, but like, baby, let's watch a movie. Whatever's on fucking Netflix. It doesn't matter, right? But yeah, man, it's like, you have to know when to leave certain situations. Well, what I mean by that is, like, if it's a conversation, an argument, whatever it is, leave it where it's at for the moment and come back to it. Whether it's the next day, 20 minutes, or whatever it is, right? Like don't respond when you don't have the thoughts to do it. Or like if somebody asks you, like, yo, I don't have the thoughts for this right now, but let me come back to you. And when you come back to this individual, you're gonna have more clarity. You're gonna be more, you're gonna be more understanding, and you're gonna have a clearer head, because it's like you took the time to process your feelings, your thoughts, and all that stuff, right? And I think that's important. You know, knowing when you're not okay. Knowing when you're not okay because you don't want to say something that you need to say, but not how you want it to be said. And that's the most tricky part, because a lot of people will be like, you know what? Yeah. You know, and you end up saying some bullshit that you don't want to say. You know, you end up saying some bullshit that you didn't mean to say the way it came out. And now you got to deal with the consequences of that. Whatever the consequences are, right? And that's the most craziest thing, because you end up just hurting somebody else because you simply didn't take the time to understand your emotions. You know, and understand that, look, it's okay to leave this where it's at for the moment. You don't have to respond to everything. It's like people who get their work emails, right? When you have your work email tethered to your phone. I've never understood that. I've had people email us at like 10, 11 o'clock at night on a work day. I'm like, why the fuck are you checking your work email at fucking 10:30, 11 o'clock at night? Your ass should be asleep. You know, I've never been that dude to be like, oh yeah, like, let me go check my work email after I've already left work. You know what? Y'all motherfuckers had 8 hours to come get at my ass. Y'all ain't come get me. Cool, I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. But yeah, man, I think it's like at the end of the day, it's like it's how you deal with things, man. It's not what you deal with, it's how you deal with it. And I think a person can be patient and be patient and be patient, but at the end of the day, it's like your patience wanes, you know? And Kobe Bryant said something that didn't make sense when I first heard it, but it made sense when I started thinking about it. He said, man, you got to be patient, but you got to be impatient at the same time. He's like, what I mean is that you got to be patient with the process, but you got to be impatient to make yourself work every day for it. Now, of course, he was talking about basketball, getting better and everything too, right? But think about it. You got to be patient and you got to be impatient at the same time. You got to be patient with the process, because you're going to get there one way or the other. But you got to be impatient to make yourself want to go work every day. That desire, that work ethic, when I was getting ready for a show, I'll wake up at fucking 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, go do my cardio, go get my workouts in, do all this little extra shit, or like, even when I was in college, I still kept the same schedule. I'll get up at 4, gym open up at 5, go get my workout in. Boom, fucking day set, It's like, and it's just knowing that you have to do the proper work to get better. And it's the same thing with everything. When I was younger, I didn't have the greatest patience. I would fly off the handle just like that. The littlest thing would just boom, fucking quick as a switch. And I would say shit. It would come out really, really vile, really venomous, and really fucking mean. And it's like, yo, I told myself, you gotta get better. I don't know what we gotta do to get better, but this shit right here, my boy, no. And so when I talk about knowing when to leave situations, friendships, whatever it is, that's what I mean. Like, sometimes you have to leave an old version of yourself to get to that new version. I couldn't be that kid that just flew off the handle at the slightest inconvenience. I couldn't be that dude, because that doesn't serve me. That hurts me. And I have to I had to understand myself. Like, oh, okay, are you mad because X, Y, and Z? Are you mad because you feel like you misunderstood? Okay, okay, all right, man. Let's go figure this out. Let's go figure your thoughts out. We'll leave this shit where it's at right now, and then you come back to it. And that's probably why I started writing poetry, man, because it's like I had so much shit in my head I didn't know how to get out. And writing my words on the page, I can literally go back and look at certain entries, be like, yo, I know exactly what I was feeling when I wrote this. I can tell from how I was holding the pen to how the ink came on the page. I could understand how the emotions behind it. Now if somebody else read my shit, maybe they would feel maybe they would feel a different way about it. But, then again, this is me, right? And so at the end of the day, man, it's okay to leave things where they at. You can always circle back. You can always, look for understanding, because that's what we're here for, man. We're here to get better. We're here to get better. We're here to get wiser. My dad told me something I'll never forget, man. He said there's 2 types of people in the world: those who grow older with wisdom and those who just grow older. You have to decide who you're gonna be. And as I get older, I see that. I see the cats who are just getting older. you know, not getting any wiser, not getting any better, not understanding why they're putting themselves in certain situations, right? I see all that shit. And I'm like, yo, what can I do to not be in that same situation? Okay, bro, let's come up with X, Y, and Z. Let's come up with coping mechanisms, you know, that help you get better. Instead of you shutting down, instead of you just doing X, Y, and Z, how about you just say, look, let's table this shit and let's come back to it when cooler heads prevail. You know? And however long that may be. Yeah. And anyway, guys, this is about 26 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the full peace. Private player, positive pushing. See y'all next week. I love y'all. Ghost. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. All right, y'all. Peace. Later.